Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. So Summerslam's coming up this weekend. Should be a lot of fun or really lame. I have no idea. I can't tell the future. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look at the SummerSlam 2021 card and go down match by match and let you guys know how I think it's going to go down and how I'd like it to go down. And I'd like you guys to tell me the same thing in the comments below. How do you guys think SummerSlam's going to have? You think it's going to be good? You think it's going to be crap? You think there's going to be cool stuff happening? You think there's going to be a bunch of WWE nonsense? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, while you're on the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's help keep growing WrestleJuice so it's the party of the summer. Let's go ahead and take a look at these notes, you turkey. All right, first up, according to Wikipedia, the first match on the card is going to be the women's triple threat for the Raw Women's Championship. Nikki ASH versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I feel like Nikki ASH is not quite getting the response that WWE probably wants her to get. You're starting to hear some boos trickling in, and it could be because this story they've been telling has been an absolute and total mess. And the promos, the interviews that she gives at Gorilla Position, literally every week on Raw, have been the exact same thing, where she talks about, she puts on the suit, and she's got her confidence, etc., etc. So this is how I think this should go down. I think that Nikki Ash potentially could be a pretty interesting character if the idea behind her is the superhero suit is covering up some like real dark side to her, which we've seen before because she was Insanity and she was a nut job before. And I like the idea, the little elements of that will start to creep through. And so you get like a Superman 3 situation where eventually she just ends up at a bar with a darkened version of her suit with like a 5 o'clock shadow and doing tequila shots. So I think there's a lot that they could play with Nikki ASH. I think either way, I think she's coming out on top. She's going to end up retaining the title probably. And they're probably just going to keep on beating a dead horse until the next pay-per-view, her embroiled in a feud with Charlotte and Rhea at the same time. I think that's just going to keep on continuing, unfortunately, because on Raw, they seem to just want to do the same thing over and over again. They really should have this be the blow-off between her, Rhea, and Charlotte, and then Nikki moves on. She retains that title, but this match should be a defining moment for her. Enough of this almost a superhero stuff. She needs to prove that she is a superhero and take care of both Charlotte and Rhea. Prove that she really belongs with them, because otherwise nobody really believes that she can win anything legitimately. She won that no-holds-barred contest against Charlotte Flair. I thought that was a good moment for her, and maybe that's when she can be victorious, is when she's faced with situations that require her to come out, that dark side of her, the sanity Nikki Cross that we saw before. So I think she should retain here, but they really need to mix up that character and have her go on and do something else, which I'm going to talk about in a second here. This next match has also been announced. Eva Marie with Doudrop versus Alexa Bliss. Now, I am not a fan of any of this stuff, to be honest with you. I love Piper Niven. I think she's great. I think she should totally turn on Eva Marie. And I know you're going to hate this because I think I hate this idea. But Doudrop should basically become Lily. She should become Alexa Bliss's new heater, new big dude who beats up the other people on behalf of Alexa Bliss. They've already teased that Lily has some control over Doudrop. It's a really stupid storyline, and I kind of hate it. But I feel like Doudrop needs to stand up to Eva Marie, and she's going to align herself with Alexa Bliss. And Doudrop's whole story needs to be her finding her way back to her identity, because Eva Marie has basically stripped it from her and humiliated her and broken her down. And now Alexa Bliss is going to use her as a tool for her own destruction. And then Doudrop needs to basically find herself again. And then she could be Piper Niven, and she has this big moment. And I think the person who should help her do that is Nikki ASH. I think after this feud with Charlotte and Rhea, they really need to have to do like a superhero versus villain, and Alexa Bliss is totally like comic book horror movie villain. They need to do that. They've got a ton of history. It makes all the sense in the world. They could probably tell, if they were careful with it, they could tell a cool story. They probably won't be because they kind of don't know how to do that. But yeah, I feel like clearly Alexa Bliss should win in this match here. I think she's going to. And Doudrop totally needs to turn on Eva Marie. I think she should align with Alexa Bliss. Why not? It seems kind of obvious. They should just do it. Next up on my list here is the Usos versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. The way I think this should go down and the way this will go down are just sort of varying degrees of the same thing. Dominic Mysterio needs to just break and lay out his dad, the legend Rey Mysterio. He should be like, dude, I'm tired of you, A, jumping on my back and riding me down to the ring. B, you keep on telling me that I'm dropping the ball, and I'm kind of sick of it because you just brought me along when you re-signed with the WWE. Maybe he didn't even want to do that. And C, I kind of feel like Eddie is probably my dad. Like, he was probably right. He probably was my dad. Look at how tall I am. I kind of look like him. And look at how short you are. The DNA doesn't match up, man. It doesn't make any sense. So Dominic lays out Rey Mysterio. He becomes Dominic Guerrero. That's a terrible idea. I don't want that to happen. But I do want him to lay out Rey Mysterio. And then we get to explore some of Dominic's darker side. I feel like there's a dickhead waiting to come out. I feel like there's a prick in Dominic Mysterio just waiting to come out and show itself, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. And of course, the Usos will benefit from that. They'll retain those tag titles there and continue to hoard all the gold there in the bloodline. I kind of feel like that's kind of going to be how it is going to go down. They're in Vegas. They should have Dominic Mysterio. I think I asked for this to happen at WrestleMania. They should have Dominic Mysterio maybe go out and get drunk, get married to a stripper, and then turn on his dad. And then he turns into kind of a psychopath. I think it'd be great. Next up, we've got Edge versus Seth Rollins. So I think Edge is going to win this. Seth Rollins in this weird period of his career where he's done everything, and yet he's still maintaining some relevancy with this new character of his with all the drip and stuff. I think he's great. I think this is going to be just a killer match. I think it's going to be like a 4.25 star match, according to the Dave Meltzer scale of matches. And I think Seth Rollins in this weird spot, though, where he's putting over guys who he really likes, like Cesaro, and who sort of deserves that. He still looks strong because of everything he's done. And he's also putting over guys like Edge, who are big stars, and they're back, but he's also, Edge just put over Roman Reigns. And so I feel like Edge has got to win this. I mean, they got to keep Edge a big deal. Seth could easily afford to lose this. Edge really kind of can't afford to lose another match. I know that he always gets cheated out of victories, but man, he really needs to win this. Edge does. And I think he will. Next up, let's see here. Sheamus versus Damian Priest. I mentioned this on our Patreon exclusive episode over at Going in Raw, which, if you guys don't know, I have like a whole podcast on a different channel called Going in Raw with my best friend Larson. So what I think should happen here is Keith Lee should come back. I know he already came back. He lost to Karrion Kross, and then he beat Karrion Kross while Jeff Hardy was out with whatever he was out with. But I feel like this is where he should sort of come back. And I know he was scheduled to win the United States Championship in the first place back at the Rumble or wherever he was before he got laid up. So, yeah, I feel like he should come back to this in some way, shape, or form. I know Damian Priest. I actually don't think Damian Priest is going to win this match. I think he's probably going to lose. And I think they're going to have a Raw rematch the next night where he might win. I feel this just has that. I feel that in this match because they haven't had a proper one-on-one. This is a big match. And maybe they have on Raw, but I don't remember because I try not to remember Raw. But in any event, I feel like whoever wins this, Keith Lee should come out and insert himself in the United States title picture. SummerSlam is going to be like their WrestleMania. So you need like a big moment like that. Maybe it'll happen on the Raw after. I don't know. But I want to see Keith Lee back. And I think that going after the United States Championship is the way to go. Next up, Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. Drew is going to win this. Drew should win this. And then he should go on to feud with like Amos up until the draft. and then Drew needs to go to SmackDown for a change of scenery. That's kind of the way I think it should be, because I get the feeling that Riddle is probably going to be on the track towards becoming world champion over the next 12 months. And there's not really going to be a lot of room for Drew McIntyre. That's going to end up being Riddle taking that title off of Bobby Lashley. So I feel like Drew McIntyre should probably head over to SmackDown. This feud, I like Jinder. I think Jinder's hilarious. The dude doesn't take himself too seriously. He's really good at sort of the villainous comedy stuff. So I don't really know what he's going to do after this. But yeah, Drew McIntyre should just win this. And there you go. I mean, if they really wanted to be cool with it, they'd have Drew like take one of Jinder's fingers using that sword. But I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, I know they took Rey's eye at one point, but that'd be kind of violent. That'd be very violent. So I don't think they're going to do that. Moving on. Let's see here. Speaking of which, RK Bro, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle taking on AJ Styles and Omos. So I think RK Bro is going to win this, and they should win this. But this is what I want to see. I want to see Riddle start to sort of incorporate more sinister aspects of Randy Orton's personality. Like maybe he wants to go for a punt to the head of AJ Styles, and Randy's like, "Whoa, wait a second. You're supposed to be like the cool one of us. You're supposed to be the chill one. You're supposed to be the one who's got like, you know, who's trustworthy and loving and compassionate and stuff. And you're about to kick him." He's like, "Randy, I'm just doing what you want to do." And I think that they should start telling that story at some point where Riddle starts being a little too much Randy Orton. And Randy Orton's like, "No, man, I like this guy. I like him the way he is. I don't want him to be a dick like me." And so maybe we see a little bit of that in this match, just to tease it, just a little seed, little bit. But yeah, they're totally going to win those titles. Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. I get the feeling that Sasha Banks is going to be on a part-time schedule. She's doing more stuff with the Star Wars universe. She's probably going to get other roles in other shows and movies and stuff. And I get the feeling that Sasha's not going to be around a whole lot. She's going to have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. She'll be there for the big four, a couple pay-per-views otherwise, a couple programs here and there every year. But I kind of feel like she's not going to be around all that much. So I think she should just make Bianca Belair look like $1,000,000, just like she did at WrestleMania. I'm more interested in how the story of this match is going to play out, what kind of callbacks they're going to have to the WrestleMania match. How they're going to tell this story, because I think it's going to make Bianca look amazing. That's what they should do. Bianca wins, and yeah, there you go. Next up, we've got Bob Lashley versus Goldberg. I mean, Bob Lashley really does need to make good on his word and retire Goldberg. They should make it seem like this is Goldberg's last match. Bobby Lashley just absolutely demolishes this old guy. Goldberg brings nothing to the table, in my opinion. I'm sure Lashley loves having this match because a Goldberg match is a big deal. But, I mean, all Goldberg does now is lose. He comes in, they bring him in to lose to people. And he's going to lose to Bobby Lashley. And he should lose to Bobby Lashley. So that's how I feel like it's going to go down. That's how it should go down. But this needs to be an absolute beatdown. I don't know. I got some gas in me, apparently. And then finally, of course, we got Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, versus John Cena. I don't know if a lot of people really understand how good this match potentially could be. Even with like Edge and Seth Rollins and Bianca and Sasha on this card, with AJ and Riddle and Randy Orton all them on this card, this could actually be, the main event could be the best match on the card. If you go back and you look at John Cena's run around like 2014, 2015, 2016, him and Roman Reigns, according again to the Dave Meltzer scale, which is usually pretty accurate in terms of judging how good or bad a match is within some amount of reason, Roman Reigns and John Cena had like a 4.25 star match. John Cena was on a run back then. These guys can put on a fantastic match. Roman's been putting on good matches within the context of his character, and I feel like these guys can put on a killer match. That being said, Roman should absolutely demolish John Cena with no help from the Usos. He should absolutely murder John Cena. And then after that match happens, Big E needs to tease a cash in on Roman Reigns. He needs to step it up a little bit, not just stalking Paul Heyman and sort of snickering. He needs to go to Roman Reigns and say, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm going to cash in." He used those words. "I'm going to cash in on you, but not right now." and Roman Reigns should be freaked out. So he starts looking over his shoulder. Well, where is this dude? Where is this dude? That needs to start at SummerSlam because Big E and the New Day are not even on this card. So I'd like to see some teasing of that. I think fans will get a kick out of that. And then finally, Finn Balor needs to attack John Cena after the match. So John Cena is completely destroyed. He's humiliated. His movie underwhelmed to the box office because of the Delta variant. Top everything off. He just got destroyed by Roman Reigns. Finn Balor comes out and just completely annihilates John Cena, like 5 coup de grace, a bunch of 1916s, and set up a match between those two because that match needs to happen before John Cena gets on a plane and heads to Europe to shoot that Netflix movie, which sounds like it's a pretty good one. Anyways, that's how I feel SummerSlam should go down. If you're curious, if you want to watch SummerSlam with me, I'll be over at the Going In Raw channel on Saturday for probably the kickoff show, and then a recap afterwards over at Going In Raw. And then, of course, after that, I have signed up Stone Cold Steve Austin do another review of SummerSlam sometime midweek next week. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Check out one of my other videos here. Please also go to WrestleJuice.com and pick up some merch. I'm looking, if you guys have any ideas for shirts that's WrestleJuice specific, let me know what you guys want to see. Maybe I'll whip it up and put it up over there. Anyways, thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye.